The sun was setting over the bustling city as I walked through the ancient marketplace, a place my grandfather often spoke of with a glint of mystery in his eyes. The air was thick with the scents of spices and old books, a tapestry of histories intertwining in every corner. I, Amir, a college student with an insatiable curiosity for the unknown, was drawn to this place like a moth to a flame. As I meandered through the maze of stalls, my attention was caught by an old man selling antique trinkets. His eyes sparkled with untold stories as he spoke of jinns, those mystical beings from Islamic folklore. I listened, fascinated, but with a pinch of skepticism. Little did I know, my life was about to intersect with the very tales I half believed. Wandering further, I found a secluded spot away from the throngs of people. It was a quaint, unassuming bench nestled beside a dried-up fountain, adorned with faded mosaic tiles. Weary from the day's explorations, I sat down, relishing a moment of solitude. In that instant, I felt a strange sensation, as if the air around me had thickened, charged with an unseen energy. I shrugged it off, attributing it to the day's exhaustion. The marketplace's magic seemed to seep into my bones, and soon, I was lost in thoughts of ancient legends and hidden worlds. It was only when the wind carried a faint pain whimper to my ears that I realized something was amiss. I stood abruptly, looking around, but there was no one in sight. Yet, the feeling of unease grew, a seed of dread planted in the pit of my stomach. I had unknowingly trespassed into a realm far beyond my understanding, a realm where myths breathed and invisible lives intertwined with our own. The market's charm had transformed, revealing a hidden layer of mystery and fear. I was about to learn that some legends are more than just stories. They are warnings of the unseen world that dances in the shadow of our own. As the sky darkened, a sudden gust of wind swirled around me, carrying whispers of ancient tongues. I spun around, searching for the source, but found only the empty marketplace. The whispers grew louder, morphing into an enraged howl. My heart raced as the air before me shimmered, revealing the furious form of a Djinn. "You have wronged me, human." The Djinn thundered, its voice echoing through the deserted stalls. Its form was both magnificent and terrifying, a swirling mass of smoke and fire. Frozen in fear, I managed to stammer, "What have I done?" "You sat upon my child, trapping them in your realm, invisible and intangible." The Djinn bellowed. I glanced around frantically, but saw no child, only the faint outline of something in the air beside me. "I didn't know, I swear," I pleaded, my voice barely a whisper against the Djinn's fury. The Djinn's eyes blazed like embers as it spoke a curse. "Then, as you have bound my child to your realm, so shall you be bound to them. Protect them, for if harm befalls them, it shall befall you tenfold." A chilling wind enveloped me, and I felt an invisible weight latch onto my being. The Djinn's child, unseen but undeniably present, was now my responsibility, a spectral companion in a world that would never acknowledge its existence. "Undo your deed, and I might spare you," the Djinn warned before vanishing into the night air, leaving me alone with the weight of my unintended transgression. Confusion and terror gripped me as I realized the gravity of my situation. I was entangled in a supernatural predicament far beyond my understanding, bound to an invisible entity that was a victim of my ignorance. The once familiar streets now seemed alien and menacing, as if every shadow concealed secrets best left undiscovered. I knew I had to find a way to appease the Djinn and release both myself and his child from this curse. But where does one even begin to seek redemption from a being as ancient and powerful as a Djinn? The answer, I hoped, lay hidden somewhere in the depths of folklore and ancient wisdom. My journey into the unknown had just begun, and time was not on my side. The next days were a blur of frantic research and restless nights. The invisible child, though never seen, made its presence felt in subtle yet unnerving ways. Objects around me would move inexplicably, and cold drafts followed me despite the warmth of the season. The weight of the curse bore heavily on me, a constant reminder of my folly. Determined to find a solution, I sought the wisdom of scholars and mystics, delving into ancient texts and obscure rituals. The city's oldest library became my refuge, its dusty tomes whispering secrets of the Djinn. I learned of their capricious nature, their ties to the elements, and their fondness for riddles and contracts. But nowhere did I find a clear path to redemption. One evening, as I pored over a particularly old manuscript, I came across a legend of a ritual that could potentially appease a Djinn. It spoke of a night of a full moon, where one must stand at the crossroads of the human and Djinn realms, offering gifts of rare incense, and uttering words of ancient apology. It was a long shot, but it was all I had. Gathering the required materials proved to be a challenge in itself. Each item was rarer and more obscure than the last. Incense made from a tree that bloomed only under moonlight, a gemstone carved by a blind artisan, and the feather of a night raven. As I hunted for these items, the Djinn's impatience grew palpable. Shadows seemed to watch me, and whispers taunted me from just beyond the edge of hearing. Finally, with all the items in hand, I waited for the night of the full moon. The city around me felt charged with anticipation, or perhaps it was just my own nerves fraying. As the moon rose, casting a silver glow over the world, I made my way to an ancient crossroads known for its mystical occurrences. I set the items in a precise pattern as described in the manuscript, and began to recite the ancient words. The air grew thick, and the shadows deepened, as if the world itself was holding its breath. I felt the invisible child's presence intensify, a silent plea for release. I uttered the final word of the ritual, and the world seemed to stand still. And then, with a force that knocked me to my knees, the Djinn appeared. It was more terrifying than before, a tempest of anger and raw elemental power. The ritual, meant to appease, had instead invoked its wrath. You dared to bind me with your feeble rituals. It roared, its voice a tempest. I cowered, realizing my grave mistake. The ritual had not been a pathway to forgiveness, but a challenge to the Djinn's power. I braced myself for the retribution that was sure to come. But in that moment of despair, something shifted within me. Instead of fear, a deep understanding filled my heart. I looked up at the Djinn, not with terror, but with empathy. I sought to right my wrong, not to challenge you, I said, my voice steady despite my fear. I understand now the pain I've caused, not just to your child, but to you. I felt the sting of loss and the weight of regret. I am truly sorry. The Djinn's fury faltered, its flames dimming as it looked at me, perhaps seeing not just a foolish human, but a soul seeking redemption. In the stillness that followed my heartfelt confession, the Djinn's fiery form seemed to waver, as if my words had reached some hidden depth within its ancient being. The air around us, once thick with tension and fear, began to shift, giving way to a hesitant calm. You speak with sincerity, human, the Djinn said, its voice now a simmering whisper. Perhaps there is more to you than I judge. The Djinn's gaze turned towards the invisible presence beside me. For the first time, I sensed a softening in its demeanor, a parental concern that transcended the boundaries of our worlds. It was then I realized that the Djinn, despite its formidable power, harbored a love as deep and vulnerable as any human's. The Djinn explained that its child was not harmed but trapped in a state of liminality, caught between visibility and invisibility. It was a rare occurrence, even in the world of Djinn, caused by the unintentional actions of a human who, unknowingly, possessed a latent connection to their realm. You have unwittingly unlocked a part of yourself that resonates with our world, the Djinn said, a note of surprise in his tone. This connection you've established, though accidental, is the key to undoing what has been done. Guided by the Djinn, I began a new ritual, this time not of apology or appeasement, but of restoration and balance. As I recited the incantations, the Djinn channeled its energy, weaving a complex tapestry of ancient magic around us. The air shimmered with a spectral light, and I felt the invisible child's presence grow stronger, more defined. With each word I spoke, the child began to materialize, its form slowly taking shape in the moonlit crossroads. It was a wondrous sight, like watching a star being born from the cosmic void. The child, appearing no older than a toddler, blinked in astonishment as it gazed upon our world for the first time in its true form. The ritual concluded with a harmonious chorus of otherworldly voices, sealing the bond between our realms, and setting right the imbalance I had caused. The child, now visible, ran into the Djinn's embrace, a reunion of celestial beings that transcended the mundane reality I knew. The Djinn, its eyes now soft with gratitude, turned to me. You have undone your mistake, human, and in doing so, have revealed a rare gift within yourself. Go forth with this knowledge, and remember the bond that now exists between our worlds. As the Djinn and its child faded into the ethereal winds, I was left alone at the crossroads, the weight of the curse lifted, and a profound sense of awe filling my soul. The marketplace, once a place of simple curiosity, had become a gateway to understanding the delicate balance between the seen and unseen, the human and the mystical. The night gradually gave way to the soft hues of dawn, painting the sky with the promise of a new day. I stood at the crossroads, the events of the night replaying in my mind like a surreal dream. Yet the sense of liberation and the profound connection I had experienced were undeniably real. As I made my way back through the now silent marketplace, the stalls and ancient buildings seemed different. They no longer held the mystique of the unknown, but felt like silent guardians of a secret world, a world I had briefly been a part of. The encounter with the Djinn had changed me. I was no longer just the college student with a fascination for folklore. I had become a bridge between realms, a human who had touched the fabric of the Djinn's world and returned. The knowledge of this hidden reality, this intricate tapestry of existence, humbled and exhilarated me. In the days that followed, I found myself more attuned to the subtle whispers of the world around me. The wind seemed to carry messages from distant realms, and the stars shone with a deeper understanding. My studies took on new meaning, as I delved into ancient texts not just for curiosity, but with a sense of purpose. I sought to understand the connection I had uncovered, to explore the boundaries of this newfound ability. But with this knowledge came a responsibility. I knew that the unseen world was not to be trifled with, that its inhabitants were beings of power and emotion, not unlike us. The marketplace, with its myriad of secrets and legends, became a place I frequented, not as a mere visitor, but as a respectful sojourner between worlds. The story of my encounter with the Djinn and its child became a part of me, a tale of error, understanding, and redemption. It was a reminder that the world is filled with mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and that sometimes, the greatest adventures lie in the unseen corners of reality. As I continued my life, enriched by the experiences of that fateful night, I often look back at the crossroads, at the moment where fear gave way to understanding, where a curse became a gift. The Djinn and its child, though no longer a visible part of my life, remain with me in spirit, the constant reminder of the fragile yet beautiful balance between their world and mine. And so, my journey through the unseen continued, with a heart open to the mysteries of the world, and a soul forever touched by the magic of the Djinn.